Welcome back to America's Now. I'm Elaine Reyes. It's considered one of the most violent barrios in Caracas and a stronghold for some of the fiercest supporters of the late President Hugo Chavez and his socialist agenda. Many of the young people living there are members of a so-called Bolivarian militia. They have a much different perspective of themselves and their mission and say their generation is determined to carve out its own brand of governance, which will start at the local rather than the national level. However, Venezuela's opposition groups consider them criminals. America's Now contributing correspondent Nitza Soledad Perez recently spent time with these young Chavistas and has their story.
The barrio El 23 de Enero bears the name of a date to remember. It was on that day, January 23rd of 1958, that the Venezuelan people, including many of those living in the barrios today, teamed up with disgruntled factions of the military to topple the nation's dictator, Marcos Perez Jimenez. Decades later, these neighborhoods are home to the next generation of Chavez revolutionaries and to the more radical elements of the late president's political movement. Their goal is as simple as it is complex. They would like to take nearly every government function into their own hands, ranging from security to economic and social programs. It is a political philosophy that separates them from the more traditional supporters of Chavez's socialist agenda. This unconventional garden with radishes, bell peppers, and scallions serves as a symbol of how times are changing in Venezuelan neighborhoods. Urban cilantro. Natalie Araque is 26 years old. She studies public administration in one of the state-sponsored universities. On the weekends, she also volunteers at the urban farm. Part of their revolutionary doctrine is to contribute to the community.
A mí lo que me gusta de esto es la parte humanista, porque en la universidad sí te enseñan toda la técnica, te enseñan cómo es, pero cuando tú lo ves, cuando tú llegas a un lugar y ves cómo se trabaja en equipo.
Their economic goal is to lower the production cost and pass those savings onto the community. Socially, they aim to give some direction to a young nation. Beyond earthy nutrients, they say they're germinating the seeds of a socialist conscience. Venezuela has a population of 27 million people. About 8 million of them are between the ages of 19 and 29 years old. Most of them were young kids when President Chavez came into power in 1999. Here at the 23 de Enero, they're building on the alternative to capitalism forged by Chavez. But outside the barrio, the colectivos have a different meaning. Enio Cardoso, professor at Venezuela Central University, explains.
Siempre han sido vinculados con temas de violencia, temas de agresiones, en algún momento a personas de la oposición, durante las marchas, o personas que sencillamente se han manifestado opuestas al proceso político liderizado por Chávez, que han sido agredidos, tanto física como verbalmente, por parte de estos grupos colectivos.
In such a polarized political environment, Venezuelans don't seem to visualize each other as having anything in common, like an aspiration to a larger freedom. Opposition leader José Urquiola.
Los grupos mal llamados allí, colectivos, que lo que son grupos de delincuentes organizados, financiados por un gobierno corrupto, donde han puesto a pasar a hambre al pueblo, y eso es lo que realmente en Venezuela no queremos. Queremos una libertad de expresión, una libertad de acción y una libertad de movimiento en Venezuela.
But for good or for bad, members of the 23 de Enero colectivos said they will keep transforming their environment and owning their spaces.
About 5 years ago, this used to be a garbage dump. Now, around 150 students from around the neighborhood work here in this urban garden, trying to achieve food sovereignty.